The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions of WBGR Network. Any questions or concerns about what is said should be directed to the show host, whose information will be provided upon request.
Welcome to the Creative Living Show, and with your hosts, which I'll be hosting you, Sherry Queen She Burden. Now, I hope that you will be inspired to take action, to learn something new, do something new throughout the different sessions and the different, shows that I'll be giving you and bringing to you over the next, every week on Thursday night at 8:30. Yes, Eastern Time. And the other thing is there are many benefits of living a creative life. So the reason that I really wanted to focus on creative living is because creative living has really helped me throughout my life, and it has been an outlet. And I want this show to be an outlet for many of you to just find something new to do, learn something new. Creativity is a great outlet for being healthy. So what also you'll be getting from me during these shows is that healthy living is also included with creativity. There's many creative ways through yoga, through singing, through dancing, through drawing, through art. There's so many different creative ways that people use as an outlet to free their mind, to also connect with who they really are. And so what I want to do is inspire you. At the end of each of the shows, I want you to just think of something like, what can I do? Or maybe something that I've shared with you, you're like, hey, I'm interested in learning that. Or I'm interested in drawing or doing something different in my life to just make me have a healthier life. So also, we're going to be having conversations with different artists. We're going to have, authors. We're going to have musicians. We're going to have singers, and I will be treating you all at the end of each show with a song. So what I would like for you to do tonight is make sure you send me some of your favorite songs that you would like to hear me sing. And then if your song is selected and I sing it on the show, then I'll be sending you a special gift. So please start just commenting. If you're on Facebook Live, leave me a comment. Just reach out to me. I'll give some information at the end of the show how you can reach out to me and give me any ideas or anything that you would like to talk about regarding creative living. And if you're someone that's living a creative life today, then please reach out to me and maybe you can be a guest on my show. So today, what we're going to talk about is what is creative living? Creative living is a way that you implement in every day of your life. You find something that reduces the stress in your life through art. It could be the art of dance, as I mentioned. Even exercising. There's so many creative ways that you can exercise. I think there is one way that you just lean against the wall if you want to work on your arms, and you just lean against the wall. We have our planks. A lot of people do planks. And then, when you go to aerobic class or any type of exercise class, the instructors are creative people because they have to create their entire session. The choreography, everything is creativity is in all of our lives. And what we need to do is just take out time to just notice that creativity in our life. So what I want to do now is I want to share an evening quote. And I'll have a quote for each week, a quote that you can just think about or ponder on for the remainder of the week. And the quote that I have today for you is going to be, just because your path is different, it doesn't mean you're lost. Now, what does that mean to you? Think about it. Just because your path is different, it doesn't mean that you're lost. So I'm going to leave you with that. We're going to come back to the show. We're going to take a little commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about a throwback Thursday. We're going to have a little throwback item, and I'm going to share something with you. Also, it's going to be dealing with your health, something that can really help you in your daily life that you can do. But it's going to be a throwback item. So I'll be right back. See you in a few. Hello, welcome back to the Creative Living Show with your host, Sherry Queen She Burden. Thank you so very much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate your time. We're going to jump right into a Throwback Thursday. So, as some of you may know, I am a health coach. I got health coach certified and working on my life coach certification. And one of the things that I learned that I wanted to share with you all is breathing and how important breathing is. And as part of my Throwback Thursday, hello, welcome back to the show for the Creative Living Show. So what we're going to talk about now is we're going to talk about breathing. Yes, breathing. We're talking about breathing. So if you're just joining us, welcome to the broadcast. We're currently talking about creative living. And the next item that I'm going to talk about is breathing for the Throwback Thursday. So for the Throwback Thursday, let's talk about, does anybody remember what this is? So just leave a comment, if you would. Leave a comment. If you know what this is, leave a little message or anything on Facebook Live. The pinwheel, yes. Now, we didn't know at the time when we were getting these pinwheels that this was a form of meditation, and it also helped with breathing. It was helping us breathe better, and it's very important. As you notice, if you blow too fast, it'll spin real fast. But most of the time, if you're blowing, it's like you start out slow. And as you're breathing, breathing relaxes you. And we did not know as children, with the pinwheels, we had to stop and blow into this thing. So we had to stop whatever we were doing, and that was a way of being present in the moment. And another thing in breathing and blowing this pinwheel is you are focused on the pinwheel. You're focused on the pinwheel just like you focus on an object, or you focus on your breathing when you're doing meditation, or even in yoga classes. Breathing is so important. And I just wanted to share this little tip, this little item right here, this little toy that we used to do. We were actually doing being healthy. We was living a healthy, creative lifestyle, because this is a creative item here. So again, this is our pinwheel, and that's our Throwback Thursday object for this week. Now next we're going to go right into some words of wisdom that I wanted to share. I was on a trip this weekend with my cousins, my first cousins, Batia, TT, my cousin Tina Winder, and also my little cousin, she's bigger than me, taller than me, Bryn. And we decided to have a first cousins weekend. And one thing that I learned that I wanted to share with you all this evening for the words of wisdom is that it's all about you. Now, some people may say, oh, it's not all about you. It's not all about you. But it is. It truly is. It's all about you. When things happen, the decisions that you make, the different events that come up, or confrontations or disagreements that come up, we experienced that over the weekend. However, communication became better amongst all of us because we took out the time to communicate and really understand, like, what is really going on. And one of the things that I pointed out to them was that it's all about you. When you have any type of argument or something that triggers you in a negative way, it's about you. It's something in it for you to learn from. It's something in it from you for you to make a change or a difference in your life. That's just a way for you to grow. So when somebody ticks you off or you get upset, pay attention to, what is it that I'm supposed to be learning or getting out of this? What is it from my childhood that may have that's causing me to react this way? You know, there's so many different things, and that was something that really helped us get through the entire weekend, and we just had a marvelous time. We had a great time. So shout out to all my first cousins who made it to the Outer Banks this past weekend. We really had a great time. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is, I would like to introduce my guest. I'd like to introduce my guest is Terri Seymore Green. She is one of my classmates from Warwick High School in Newport News, Virginia. So shout out to all the Raiders, class of '86. Yes, she is my special guest this evening. She is an author of 2 books. So this is one of the books here. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. And also there's a second book that we will talk about as well. And you can download these things, and we'll give you all that information later. But first, I just wanted to say I am so glad to have Terri join us this evening, and I'll give you a little bit more bio when she joins us. But in the meantime, we're going to take a quick little break, and you'll see a little slideshow of Terri. Thank you. Oh, Matt's open. Hello, welcome back to your Creative Living Show. And I'm your host, Sherry Queen She Burden. So we have with me now my Gemini buddy, my classmate, Terri Seymore Green. Now, she is a native New Yorker. You're a native New Yorker. From the Southampton in New York. She's a wife, a mother of 2 sons, and the creative part of her is she is a published author of 2 books. Now, another key fact that I would like to share is that we are both born in the month of June. So like I said, 2 Geminis in the house. So really there's 4 people sitting here right now. So it's a party already. So also we both graduated, as I said, from Warwick High School in the class of 86 in Newport News, Virginia. After spending many years writing poetry and short stories, Terri discovered that her true calling was in writing fiction and inspirational novels, which we'll be discussing tonight. When we return, we're going to just talk about, her different books and everything. So we're going to roll right into it. Let's just go right into one of the stories. Now, I just want to ask you, one of the books, my Gemini buddy and dear friend, is the book, when you first wrote this one, I know I was probably one of the first, I was one of the first 3, but somewhere probably in the first 100 maybe, But in the early stages when she first got this book out and I ran into her, I purchased this book because I truly believe in supporting individuals starting businesses and anything dealing with creative art and creativity. So this book is I Love You More Than Love. And I left it at my aunt's house, my Aunt Brenda. I don't know if she's watching tonight. That's little Brenda's mother. But I left it at her house, and she read the whole thing, and she was calling me, and she was just like, oh my God, this book is good, and oh my goodness. I said, don't tell me, I left it, don't tell me the rest of the book, please. So I got my book back, finally. Okay, I got my book back. And I've been reading it, and I've finished it, and I just must say that I have a question about 1 or 2 of the characters. Okay. And since this is my first time interviewing an author, I know you don't want to give out too much information, but what is the deal with Darius? Okay. Like, Darius is like, how did you come up with that particular character?
Okay. All right. Well, Darius started out. Darius actually was born from a real person. Let's just say that.
Oh, okay.
So the real person behind the character was a muse for me. So I just took it and ran with it. I started developing that character back in 2006, I think it was.
Okay.
And so there's a portion of the book that Keisha, the other main character, talks about meeting him in the beginning of the book. So that kind of did happen.
Oh.
Yeah, it kind of did happen. And obviously as a writer I embellish a lot of stuff, but...
Well, I wanted Darius in the beginning. I mean, so far what I've read, about him, I don't know what's going to happen in part 2, because he has a part 2, but he's a romantic guy, and how many people like romance? I would just put something in the little chat or put something in the comments. How many people like romance? And I think that's what intrigued me, is that this individual, this character was so, it just helped you have hope.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? For us single women, or if you've been divorced or anything, back out there in the dating scene, then it just gave hope, and it was so realistic. And that's the thing I think you said, that most of your characters, they're you can relate to them. Yes. They're very relatable, and I must say that yes, all her characters in this book are relatable. You're going to think of someone like, oh, I know a friend like that. I know a friend that's always got drama going on. A friend that just makes bad choices all the time. You know what I'm saying? But the thing also I like about it is that everybody is a friendship. It shows true friendship, and it also shows unconditional love
Yes.
amongst each other.
And that was the key there. Was
Well, I'm glad I picked up on that.
Yes, because when I first started developing the characters, I was going through a divorce.
Oh, okay.
So I needed hope too.
Yeah,
that there was
yeah.
actually, love after divorce.
Yes, yes.
And so I started working on this, and what I recognized was that I could make these characters be who I wanted them to be. I could get the happy ending if I wanted it to be happy or not. So I was in control of it. It was all about me.
Right.
It was all about me.
Yes, yes.
And so that was how.
Could you say that again?
Yes, it was
so when
all
you go
about
through,
me.
Yes,
it was. And so that was how that came to. That's how that started.
Right. So if you think the cover of this is hot, just if you could zoom in on this cover, just the cover alone, I mean, it was great. I mean, who designed your cover?
A guy out of Ohio.
Ohio.
He
Okay.
does all my covers.
Yes, this is awesome. I just want to share something just on the back of this book, just to give everybody an idea of what the book is about. This first book, and then we'll talk a little bit about the second one. It's Keisha Johnson, which you mentioned was one of the key characters outside of Darius. But Keisha Johnson is a strong, beautiful, and intelligent 32-year-old woman living in Washington, D.C. area. She has a good life and great friends, but her relationship has its issues. Yes. Darius Kingston, one of my favorite characters, her 34-year-old boyfriend is loving, caring, and good-looking, but he will not face the fact that he has a serious alcohol addiction. How many of you ladies, and maybe your men, you meet somebody and they're loving and caring and all the other things that you want, but then they have an issue.
Yeah, that one thing. Right?
That one thing, and it's like, okay, do you do the 80-20 rule, or do you, I don't know. So, again, about unconditional love here. So he has a serious alcohol addiction. Now, Keisha grew up in an alcoholic household. Now, that goes back to what I was saying earlier about when things trigger you, think back to your childhood, because a lot of things we're attracted into our lives so that we can become better,
right,
or some area we need to work on. So isn't that interesting? This person, grew up in an alcoholic household, and then she ended up attracting this beautiful man, but he has an alcohol addiction. So she can't stand to watch the destruction. She is also tired of being embarrassed by his drunkenness every time they attend social gatherings. Now, meanwhile, Darius tries to fill the void that Keisha's absence has left in his life by engaging in a meaningless friendship that ends in a one-night stand. That's a good one right there, okay? You got to be careful who you getting with, I guess. I'll just keep it right there. You never know. You think it's a one-night stand, and then it'll be somebody that be, you can't let go. So throughout this journey, Keisha, Darius, and some of their mutual friends will experience love, pain, and a bit of drama trying to find their way to happy. There is also a lesson to be learned through some of the drama, so be careful who you attach yourself to. So that's the first book. So what else, as far as like how did you come about, like even deciding to write this book?
Again, I started writing it a long time ago, and I just kept it. It was like in an archive, which I have probably 3 or 4 other books that I've drafted out and just haven't published. But I just kept on working on it, and I thought, you know what, I need to release this book because, again, the characters are so relatable. And for those who know me and read the book, they'll be able to say, oh, Terri, I remember when Terri did something like that, or they may know some other people, we may have other mutual friends that have experienced some of this stuff. So that was it. So I worked on it. I changed it so many times. So from 2006 to probably 2009, 2010 even, I was just drafting this book.
Wow.
And it doesn't necessarily take 4 years to write a book.
Oh, I'm still working on mine. It's been about 5.
But I wanted to, I had to develop the characters the way that I wanted them to be. These are like, I'm an introvert, and when I say that, people say, no, you're not, but I am. And so for me, writing is really my refuge,
Yes. Yeah.
So I would write, and these characters have become so near and dear to me that I'm working on the 3rd book, but it is so hard because I know I need to let go. I think at that point after the 3rd book, but I don't want to let go. I don't want to let go of them.
I say don't let go.
I
I say let it keep going.
Because I even said, how many stories can I write about these people, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm still up in the air about how
Yeah.
whether it's going to end or there'll be more.
Oh my good. Well, I'm sure that even if this series ends, there will be another series.
There's already one actually in the work. I have a book coming out. It's called Under the Rug: The Secrets They Kept, and the setting is actually in the 757 in Tidewater, Virginia.
Yes. Back home, taking us back home.
Yeah.
This studio is located in Lanham, Maryland. So when we say back home, that's our hometown, or New York, by way of New York.
Right.
But that's where we are. So that's awesome that you'll be pulling some things from 757.
Mm-hmm.
You'll notice that this book, I noticed that many of the it's out of the Washington D.C. area.
Right.
So the focus, the areas for that. So that's good that you're taking it back home, so I can relate to some of those landmarks,
Yes.
that you may be mentioning. So now the other character in this book is Stephanie.
Oh wow. Okay. Yes.
So how did you come up with that character?
Okay, that character, she's 100% fictitious.
Okay.
It was important, I felt, for me to incorporate, Stephanie has a lot of issues. People will have to read about those. But I felt it was important to incorporate the fact that people they're dealing with issues inside that we don't even know about, So Stephanie has some mental health issues.
Oh, okay.
And it kind of gets revealed at the end of the first book, and there's a lot more in the second book.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, because mental illness is definitely one of my areas that I'm advocate for. So I'm really looking forward, and I did notice that. Also, I noticed it was a health-related thing like sickle cell that was brought up. So is that something that you have experienced, or do you mind sharing on that?
I don't mind at all. Okay, so I was born with sickle cell disease. I was diagnosed at age 2. Back then, there wasn't a whole lot there was no genetic testing for it, So it was like you get sick, you go to the hospital, then they test and find out that you have it. They didn't do pre-testing. Now they do. So my parents found out I had sickle cell when I was 2, and the doctors basically told them my life expectancy will probably be about the age of 12.
Oh my goodness.
And to just make sure that I had a good quality of life for those 12 years. And I turned 51 this past Sunday.
Yeah, happy birthday!
So medical science, you know what? That was why I had to take control of my own health too. I mean, not that I don't have traditional doctors, but I try to do everything that I can to fight it.
Right.
So that I can survive. And hey, I'm 51 now.
Yeah, and you look great. Yes, that's right. I do too. I'll be 51 Sunday. So yes, we're gonna have a good time. It's a great. We're just grateful to be alive and able to. It's just wonderful to be able to share your creative work. Getting back to creativity, how is writing an outlet for you?
Okay, it is so therapeutic. When I first started writing, gosh, I started out when I was in the 6th grade in my journal. We all had those.
Oh, yeah, little
diaries
diaries.
With a lot on it, And until I got myself in trouble because I was naive to think that my mother wouldn't pick the lock. So anyway,
they were little cheap things. You could just cut it with scissors.
So anyway, I started writing them, but then I guess in my late teens, like 18, 19, I realized it was an outlet for me. There were so many traumatic things going on in my life. And so I started writing poetry, and that was my outlet. I would sometimes cry through it. Sometimes I go back and read the stuff, and I'm reading it, because it was so emotional. I'm in a better place now, so I write more happy, upbeat stuff. But back then, there was a lot of tragedy in it because that was what I knew, So yes, that's how I use my writing it helps me. It takes me to a peaceful place. It really does.
How has living a creative life, how has that impacted others around you?
I have people come up to me. I might go to a social event. People come up to me and say, "Hey, I read your books." I mean, it shocked me the first couple times that it happened because I was like, "Wow, people are actually reading my books."
Right.
And they would say, "I've had men. You will be surprised at the number of men that said they read these books."
Wow.
And that was not the audience I was targeting. I was targeting the female audience.
Right.
And I've had guys say, "Oh my gosh, Darius, I can't believe he did that, but you know what? I remember when I did something like that.
Oh,
Or I had one guy tell me that it was as if I was in his head when I wrote it. when I wrote
right.
the
Yeah, I
character.
did read something that you mentioned that even your book has even reached prisons.
Yes, and in fact, the correctional facility that it reached was in Hampton. Believe it or not, it was in Hampton, Virginia.
Okay.
And it was funny. Somebody got a hold of the first book, and the next thing I knew, I guess they were passing it around because there's also a scene in there that deals with jail, correctional facilities.
Right, right.
So they passed the book around. I was getting letters from people in the jail, but they were all talking about how I touched them and how I helped them. Nobody asked me for anything. They didn't try to get a date when they get out. It was none of that.
Right,
It was
right.
all genuine about how much they were affected by what was written in the book.
That is just so powerful, and that's the reason. Like another reason for this show is just creativity is not just about you as
Right.
well as helping you,
Oh, yeah.
but it can
It helps
also
others.
like it radiates and it helps others through like song, through your writings, just like you said. So I don't want to talk all the time about the book. This first book that I really, 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 really like. I just downloaded your second book,
Okay.
so I will be reading that shortly, and I'm looking forward to it. So can you just give us a little bit of, let us know a little bit about, and let me just show everybody if you could zoom in on this one.
Oh,
And this is Love Endures All Things, Even the Most Difficult Challenges.
yeah. So at the end of the first book, it ends abruptly. It leaves people hanging. And so to carry it on, it picks up with something that could have ended, well, actually it did end in tragedy in the first book. And it picks up where it leaves off. And so if you look at the cover, you can kind of tell what might be going on in there. We've got the main characters, Keisha and Darius, and then there's somebody that looks like they're kind of hanging in the balance. Maybe,
Yes.
stalkerish, maybe.
Wonder who that is.
Yeah. So, yeah,
That
was
one night. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
So anyway, it's just a continuation of that and how
Yeah.
how you press through things. Either you're gonna let it go and really let it go. You're not gonna hold
Right.
it against the person,
Right.
or you're just gonna.
So how did you decide to, as a writer, I'm just starting, so I have a book that I'm trying to work on, but how did you decide, after that first book was completed, that okay, I'm gonna make a sequel because you're talking about a third book,
Right.
So what's the process of, making that decision?
I knew probably about 3/4 of the way through this book that it was way too much to put in one, and I already had developed in my mind what I wanted to say and what I wanted to happen in the next book.
Right. Okay.
And even with this book, I already knew going into it, coming to the end of it, what the third book was going to be about.
Oh.
And then I stopped because I started writing it, and then I had another creative idea, which is how the book Under the Rug came to be. So I
Okay.
actually am about 3/4 of the way finished with that one. I took a break from the third book on this trilogy to work on that one because I had to get that out. I really had to
Right.
get it out.
Yeah,
So
that
I'm
could
actually
be
working on
interesting.
2 at one time.
See, I know when I'm writing, sometimes it's very difficult to, like, when the creative juices is flowing, like, it's how do you just, like, you got to find a moment to, like, say, okay, I'm going to stop this right now, because at night, you can wake up at night just
I've done
thinking
it.
of things, and then you start jotting it down. Does that happen
Oh
to
yeah,
you?
I've been up sometimes 3 in the morning. I would get up at like midnight and go and write until 3 in the morning. Or there's times I would spend 8 hours in my office writing.
Wow.
10 hours in my office writing, and then there's times that I would go down there and hit writer's block, and it's like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, what's going on.
Right, right.
But I think if you let your mind get the best of you, that will happen to you. And there are ways to get around it. I learned, but yeah, that was difficult. It's like, man, I've been writing, I've been on a roll, and then suddenly now I don't know what to write about.
Now, also notice in your first book, and I'm sure it's probably in your second one as well, is that your characters always seem to see the good in everything. And so how did you, explain to me why you chose to focus on that? Some, people, all the characters always see the good in a crazy situation.
Right. Well, there's one character that kind of is in this book a lot and not so much in this one, but she's coming back in the third book. She was one of those ones that was a little skeptic.
Okay.
But for the most part, the majority of the characters, they do. And that's because that's the way I see life. You know, I try to see the best in people.
That must be the Gemini thing.
I
do too.
You know, I try to see the best. I'm not naive about people.
Yes,
but I try to
right.
see the best in people. So I do give them a chance until they show me
different.
That I don't really see the best in them.
Exactly. And I think that is so... you know, it's needed these days because there's a lot of judgment that goes on, you know, with people, whether it's how they dress, whether it's their religion, whether it's their sexuality, whether, you know, people just get judged and they just automatically, that person is bad and I don't, you know, want to deal with them. But like you said, even the homeless man, you know, there's good in everybody, you know. There's just different situations and circumstances that, you know, come into people's lives. So that is awesome. So, so tell us a little bit more about the second book.
Okay, the second book, again, it picks up from the end of this book. And then Keisha and Darius are dealing with, let's just say, the results of his indiscretion. And that's what goes on in this book. And then the character Stephanie, it's a lot of foreshadowing to show why Stephanie did some of the things that she did in the first book. A lot. And it is shocking because nobody had any idea that, you know, some of these things were going on.
I mean, if you think about it, and that's an interesting book because us being like 50 and 51, as we live longer, we know that there's a lot of things that people do in their life that we have no clue, and you would be shocked.
Yeah. You know,
hey, me too. Well, trust me. Yes. So there's some things that, you know, you don't want the world to know, and, you know, I guess they call them skeletons in the closet.
Yes.
But I'm not ashamed of anything because it's made me who I am today, and it's also helped you to write your book.
Yes.
And be able to, because there's somebody out there that has done it or have been through it, and here you are putting a different twist on it, or you're showing a way that they can be accepted for who they are, and they can be loved unconditionally, and there is some good in them no matter what they've done in the past, right? So I really love the fact that that your characters show that. So that's what I like about the book. I really like that there's good in everyone, and I love the cover of the book. I'm trying to think, like, how many, I just want to ask a question to everyone out there. Based on the characters that we've talked about, how many of you know some people that would fit or can relate to some of these characters? You know, we have Darius, who, you know, got everything going on except got alcohol problem. You know, then we got Keisha, the strong black woman, you know, but she has, you know, relationship issues, you know, just picking and choosing. So how many people, you know, out there, just, you know, put something in the chat, put a comment on Facebook Live, or just email me later, or Terri will give out her information later. But yeah, just the characters, you know, they really relate to a lot of people that we can think of. Like, oh, okay. Because I even know people even just by the names. You got Darius and Stephanie. Hi, Darius, if you're watching. Hi, Stephanie, if you're watching. You know, my girlfriend Stephanie. It's just funny, you know.
I don't know her, by the way. I don't know her.
No, you don't. And you don't know them, no. But I'm not saying they are like the alcoholic or anything. Matter of fact, the Darius that I know doesn't drink alcohol at all. Okay. So he's definitely, unless something changed in the last few years. But that's great. So what I would like to do now is I would just like to, you know, if you look at these books, and if Terri, if you could just share where they can download and get your books from and how they can reach you.
Okay. You guys can reach me easily by email. My email is Terri, Terri, Seymore, Green, Terri Seymore Green at gmail.com. The books can be purchased. They're on Amazon. It's a long link, but if you go to Amazon.com and just put my name in or the title of one of the books, I Love You More Than Love or Love Endures All Things, they'll come up. They're both available in digital format as well as paperback format.
Thank you so much. So what I would like to do is I want to gift 2 people that have joined me this evening at least one of these books. I'll be purchasing both of these copies, and I would like to ship these to each of you. And if you could just put a fact, and the question that I'm going to ask, and I'm just going to randomly select someone that leaves a comment, but the question that I want to ask is, where did Terri and me meet? Like, what school did we meet? So if you could just please put that information. We talked about that. I said it several times this evening on purpose. So if you could please, what is the school, the high school that we met and we graduated together? So if you do that, then I'm going to randomly select someone, and then by next week's show, I'll announce the winners of the 2 books, and I will be getting their information and shipping these books, and we'll try to get a signed copy for you. So once I do that, I'll get these signed and sent off to you. Now, what I would like to do and Terri is not aware of this.
Uh-oh.
Yes. So Terri, I want you to just step up here to the front, if you don't mind.
I have something for you too. Don't let me forget.
Oh no! Okay.
A little something.
So we're gonna step across here. I hope the camera gets us. So we're going to we're gonna step into the. I'm gonna call this my creative corner. So yeah. So in the future, just to let you know, there will be some musicians, saxophone players, some spoken word artists. I have all of these scheduled. I have people scheduled all the way out to August already. We have some spoken word artists. We have comedians. I also have a celebrity comedian that may be joining me. So I'm waiting for her to book her show. There's also going to be I have writers. I have some more authors. I have poetry writers. And then, of course, like I said, I'll be singing a song at the end of each of my shows. So tonight, what I would like to do is I'm going to sing Happy Birthday to Terri. And so it's real short, sweet, simple. So I'm going to sing Happy Birthday. And then we have another little special thing before we end the show. Again, I just want to thank everyone out there, everyone who's joined me, everyone that's supported me in the past, everyone that's supporting me now, and everyone that's going to be supporting me in the future. I really appreciate you all taking out your time this evening to spend with me. We look forward to talking to you again in the future. Every Thursday night at 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. is the show. So I'm going to sing Happy Birthday to my dear friend, Terri. Okay. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Terri. Happy birthday to you and me too.
So, say it's your birthday.
So happy birthday. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to have a little celebration. And we have more. And this is a celebration for both of us. This is my son, Carnell. So this is a birthday for both of us. So we're going to split it down the middle because I can't eat all this. So happy birthday to ya. Thank you so very much. This is beautiful. Thank you, thank you.
I have one too.
Uh-oh, here we go. Ding, ding. All right. So, again, let me just give another shout out. We have these books here, and you can get them on Amazon. So, go out, download our books today. Again, I want to thank you all. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Carmen, for helping me out and supporting me this evening. And again, happy birthday, Terri! And thank you for being my first guest on my show. So, peace out. See you next Thursday, every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time on WBGR. Peace.
Thank you for joining me on your Creative Living Show with your friend Sherry Queen She Burden. And remember, creative living gets you where you're going. See it plus believe it equals create it.